And here we go back at it on another sunny, gorgeous afternoon for thoroughbred racing here at bucolic and beautiful Gulfstream Park. We have got our postcard palm trees standing tall and at attention here in the infield. Ronnie missed me saying that yesterday, so I'll make it up here on this opening Thursday of the meet. But, you know, you said it yesterday, Ronnie, and I think more or less we have a continuation with Mother Nature. This is a 5 palm tree out of 5 weather afternoon here in Hallandale Beach.
Well, I know you go only high as 5, but yesterday might have been a 6, but today's another gorgeous day. Once the humidity goes down in South Florida, you got to beat people away from here.
Well, yeah, you always say that. If it was like this year-round, we'd have to beat people away with a stick. But we're getting into the good stuff now. You've got 6-7 months of just perfect weather, and a lot to talk about as we recap a day number 1 that we saw us run 10 races, and you had Paco walk away with 3 wins, and what about trainer Ken Sweezy, who picked up where he left off over at Gulfstream Park West?
Yeah, that barn is going great guns. Certainly a couple of wins yesterday on the card, so things are going to start leveling out over the next couple of days, and we'll see how what happens this afternoon. And when you have a fast track and a firm turf course, you got to beat.
Definitely. You definitely do. Now, we hope the weather continues and the forecast looks terrific here for this opening week. Saturday builds into that first sizable crescendo, if you will, with the 9 Claiming Crown races. An 11-race Saturday card, Ronnie, which was drawn yesterday, and I know, like you, I finished the work this morning, and boy, that is a big-time sort of 11-race blockbuster if there ever was one.
Yeah, we burned the midnight oil last night getting that done. It is there's really a couple of fantastic races. It gives a chance for these claimers, but you see some really classy horses cursing through all those races. So yeah, you have to decide who you're going to go with. But it's going to be a fantastic Saturday with that 11-race card. Hey, don't forget we're going to have a special 12 noon post.
And that is a hardline 12 noon post. No lollygagging, that's for sure. Horses were loading like clockwork yesterday when the minutes to post hit 0, and there'll be more of that throughout the afternoon as this meet progresses. And so it begins on a fast and firm day number 2 at 12:35 on the nose. We've got that opening leg of the early pick 5, and I'll take a little gander here and a stab at an $18 ticket. You've got an interesting first race, which we'll expound upon on in a second, where, you know, there's 4 or 5 interesting runners in that one, including 4 very well-connected second-time starters who all had different but interesting trips first time out. I use Candy Crush'em, who I prefer in the second. That is a very difficult dirt sprint claiming race, and I also included the 4 Mustang Cat, who might be the horse to beat just in good form. Is he this level that he's going to run at in the second race? That's the big question with him. A couple of chalks in the third race. I prefer the 8 Julie Bird, and hoping she just did not care for the turf course, which was soft over at Gulfstream Park West. I built this play around. I really like the 7 Heartling. I'm probably one of a few thousand that really like that filly in the 4th race, a spot where I think she was favored no matter what, but it's an easier race now to boot with the early scratch if I need the tequila. She's a pretty clear favorite, and wrapping it up with a 3-horse spread there in the 5th race. But getting down to business in the first, Ronnie, you and I are very much in the ballpark of those 3 or 4 key second-time starters. You've got from the rail out the Maker horse Serenade Kitten, Cheerleader Bob for Kathleen, and then towards the outside, Jane Sibeli's the number 8 Not Tonight Bobby, and your top pick, the 9 Some Nation, who was claimed first out off Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, this one going to the Saffie Joseph Jr. barn and drops to the 25 level today. Recovered from that slow start and that race to finish that late closing 4th in a $40,000 career debut. Todd Pletcher, Edgar Zayas rides. You know, maybe a little bit of a shaky proposition with the drop down, but one good barn to another good barn. I thought this horse would run well. And these connections, they put their horses where they can win. And so it went with Sub Nation, but I can understand Cheerleader Bob, and I can also understand Serenade Kitten, who's the current tepid favorite right now.
Yes, who has Miguel riding for Mike Maker. And let's just backtrack quickly to this daughter of Kitten's Joy, her first out race and career debut on October 9th. We'll pick it up from the starting gate, and things were going well at this point. She was 9-5 in an 11-horse field, and off the bat anyway, ran to that toad support. Good speed. Edgar hustled her out, yet her trouble began right as she started to hang that left-handed turn into the clubhouse turn, where she just took it very poorly, and all that good positioning she had in that forward placement gone in the blink of an eye. Now, she did recover, and the fact that she did recover and get herself within in striking range, I guess, is a credit to her. But I still thought, Ronnie, even blowing that first turn, I still thought she had a pretty good trip thereafter, and she was just a little flat off the far turn to the finish line at this point, very much one-paced and out of run. Does she step forward, and do we get a filly who, quite simply, second out is just a little more professional in today's first?
Well, this is adding blinkers 101 right here. They're going to put the blinkers on. It looked like this horse was a little goofy, especially going into the first turn. So I think Serenade Kitten loved the blinkers on this afternoon. Miguel Vasquez, a really nice win on yesterday's card. He'll be up to top this daughter of Kitten's Joy.
And Cheerleader Bar, my top pick, broke slow, was a little sluggish, but ran okay first out for Kathleen, who we know her horses tend to improve with race day experience. As we move on to the main track with Thursday's second, a cast of 6. No real favorite in this race. I think Pete's favorite on the morning line is 3-1 or so, and for good reason. This is just a race with a lot of parity and just an even feel to it. Yet the 4 Mustang Cat might be the most important horse because he's been really good for Peter Walder in 2 of his last 3 races, and that includes a victory we're going to bring you to and turn the clock back to the afternoon of November 7th, where he bounded on the lead and found himself dictating the terms on November the 7th and wired a field of 6250 claimers. I think he's dangerous today, Ronnie. I do have that nagging feeling, though. Can he step up and handle better horses today?
Well, what I liked about it was he became the only participant in this race to win at this 7-furlong distance, which is that niche distance we always talk about for Peter. So I like that, and that was what's made me separate the horses. Plus the stat with Peter, just a winner last out, sprints on the dirt. He's pretty solid, which we knew he would be. 21%, 51% in the money. Still got that positive ROI. So I like horses that prove that themselves at 7/8 of a mile. So on top for me with Mustang Cat.
All right, we'll see. I had added in that winner last out stat, 50% bump up in class. He's 1 for 12.
I saw that.
Yeah, so it's like, you try not to get just lost in a maze of stats,
Right.
but that's the big question this afternoon. Even with Mustang Cat's strong race last time going 7 with a big figure, can he handle some body blows and some horses that are going to be throwing harder punches than the field that he took down last time out? I really like the overall form, maybe minus the last race of the 2 Candy Crush'em, who I'm hoping and I'm going to speculate, did not care for the wet track over at Gulfstream West. If you draw a line through that race, which also was coming against a way better field of horses than this, including Snaphook, who's a major player fairly late here Saturday in the Claiming Crown in one of those later card stakes. I mean, this horse has been super consistent and has done so at a pretty consistent level as far as good horses, and that's what I like, Ronnie, about the 2 Candy Crush'em.
Yeah, I mean, if you queue up that performance, those horses in that last race, any one of them would win in this spot.
Yeah, Snaphook or Brasstown would be clearly favored there, no question about it. Back on the turf for Thursday's third, 2-year-old filly, $25,000 to $20,000 maiden claimers. You've got the second very important Mike Baker trained maiden claimer on today's card, joining the 1-horse Serenade Kitten, who's still 3-1 in the opener, and that is the 8 Julie Bird, who I know it might be a little bit of a shaky call because she just hasn't run well at short prices in her 2 races to date. I really hope she just did not like the turf course over at Gulfstream Park West.
Yeah, and to drop to the 25 level, and after moving to Mike's barn, and finishing that race you alluded to, the Stalk and Fade 7 as the favorite against those 40 maidens. We'll see if this horse runs well. Joe Bravo. I went with the 5 Shake'em, who I thought is eligible to take another positive step forward today after responding to the re-addition of blinkers with an improved second-place finish. That was going that mile on the GP West turf. Bobby DeBona, Hector Berrios is his first call rider recently, and I just thought Shake'em would be somewhere on the ticket. Julie Bird, for all the reasons you mentioned, the Irish bred, and then the number horse you have in second, I have in third, La Pinta for Jane Sibeli with Red Hot Paco Lopez. We could say Red Hot. He won 3 yesterday.
He won 3 and was half a pinky nail away from winning 5, in fact. 2 vicious photos that he came out on the other side of yesterday fairly late on that Wednesday card. No, I hear you with the 10 La Pinta. Jane, for the 2-year-olds or at least first-time starters, she runs, and there might not be that many of them in the grand scheme of things. You know, I tend to find her horses improve with a race or two under their belts. And that horse actually got a good ride, I thought, from Camacho first out, and just was a little lackluster in the final furlong, and struck me as a filly that might have just simply needed that race, and I expect her to run very well this afternoon in that third on the turf. We come up on the fourth, and much like yesterday, very few defections on the card here. The biggest one, though, is housed in this fourth race in the presence of the one, or lack of a presence, with the one I Need the Tequila. And with her out, this is a situation and a case where Safi off the trainer change and the dip to 62.50. The 7 Hartling probably going to be a big favorite, who shares a number of traits and parallels to Let's Be Honest, who was doing the exact same thing for this owner, Gentry Farms, last week over at Gulfstream West, and that horse did win.
Yeah, just going to Safi's barn and dropping to the 6,250 level, it sort of makes this horse jump off the page. As they say, in addition, he's good with new additions to the shed row. Talking about Safi, 30%. Listen about the number 3 horse in here, Grace's Drama. A specialist going to 1-turn mile locally. Returns failed to fire. Again, similar. That was going to mile 70 yards across down. This is a 9-time local winner, an 8-time winner at the distance. Hector Berrios trying to spring maybe a little bit of an upset in here. I was hoping the 1 stayed in because I thought I'd get a little bit of a price in my exactor and try with the 3 Grace's Drama. All the angles I sort of like when I'm looking at these type of horses. But with that said, it's Hartling's race to lose.
No, Grace's Drama, some good points. She is a hard-nosed, tough mare, 10-time winner without a doubt, who's had a lot of success, as you were saying, locally here at GP. As we take a little time out here on the Thursday broadcast, Rainbow Six and a lot more after this.
to the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
46 minutes to post. Check out that live shot, 11:49 a.m. on this Thursday, December the 3rd, at beautiful Gulfstream Park. Our championship season underway. Do want to thank all the great fans, not only for the support here yesterday on day number 1 of the wintertime season, but for the entire 2020 run between GPW and the spring-summer meet. We do have the best fans in the world, and so excited to hit those pristine conditions with the first of 10 in exactly 46 minutes time. And as we move forward, Ronnie, we're nearly into the opening weekend action, which is obviously anchored and built around the Claiming Crown, yet happy hour tomorrow afternoon figures to be a good run without a doubt, with another round in the 12% takeout Stronach 5.
Yeah, we actually have 3 races in the Stronach 5 races. Our races 8, 9, and 10. Couple up from our sister track up at Laurel. They'll be on the main track, so we got some turf, we got some main track, and what's it take? Add it up, Jason. How many minutes is it going to take?
Well, what do we got? So we got about 70 minutes, 350, let's call it, right through 5 o'clock. So you're talking a little more than an hour for 5 races.
Love that.
No, we got to keep the action going, rapid fire in the succession department with the Stronach 5. And I guess a similar sentiment with your Rainbow Six today, my friend, as we dive into the sequence. We got a $75,000 guarantee. I know your best bet is housed a bit later in the afternoon. And how's the ticket looking?
Well, I got a $43.20 ticket, and I'm glad I saw your early pick 5. You used my long shot today. I don't know how much of a long shot. I'm talking about the 1 Queen of Barry was 8-1 on the morning line. Keen off that performance, only previous performance on the turf. La Cara Bonita and Effie Meister in the opening leg. 2 deep in race number 6, West Will Power. But boy, I got to use Mexican Wonder Boy in that race. Race number 7, pretty wide open affair. 3 deep for me with the 3, 4, and the number 8 Turlo is beautifully bred son of English Channel for Todd Pletcher. In race number 8 with Swaggy George, one more time around, and Top Boss. 9, my best bet, as you mentioned, is Awesome Raw today. I think this is a much better spot. First time for Antonio Sano. Subsidiary in also on the ticket and 2 deep. Now, here's the last race. The 10, I used the 2 and the 3. You either got to use 2 horses, 1 horse, or 12 horses.
Yeah, no, it's funny because that's really funny because I got up to that 10th race for my late pick 5 as a teaser, and I said, man, what do? I either single maker or, I want to use a handful, and I opted just to single the maker horse, who's first time Mike a bit later today in the 10th race here as we, again go full circle and dial it back to this opening leg in race number 5. And, taking a page from what I mentioned earlier with Julie Bird in the 3rd, I'd like to think Effie Meister, my top pick to start the rainbow today for trainer Dave Fox, who had himself a pretty good run over in Miami Gardens from day number 1. I think he won 8 races over there and was batting around 25-30%. I'm hoping Effie Meister just did not care for that turf course because I think she's a better horse on the grass than she showed last time out. I also, as I turn it over to you, think the 6 La Cara Bonita, I sounded like a broken record. She doesn't want to go a mile. She's back to doing what she does best today, and that's staying short on the turf.
Yeah, they're going to add blinkers today, and Luis Saez, talking about La Cara Bonita, but I did start it off, as I mentioned, a little bit of a long shot for me today with Queen of Barrio, whose only previous outing sprinting on the grass was that good second-place finish, beating the neck at this level and distance right here during April returns. I like the fact that they got a racing tour, over crosstown on the main track at Gulfstream Park West. Carlos Perez, Edgar Zayas named to ride, and I'm just thinking, if no one scared me in this race, so I said, let me look for a price, and I'm glad you used this horse somewhere in your ticket. Probably Effie Meister and La Cara Bonita are the ones to really look at, but Queen of Barrio, I wouldn't leave off the ticket.
I'll tell you, Carlos Perez, he might not be a household name. He's had a good meet here, or at least a good, say, 2-month run. The few horses he was running over at Gulfstream Park West, it seemed like he had a lot of live horses and not a barn that attracts a lot of wagering attention. So I'm with you. We'll see how she does from the inside post. Halfway home as we move on to our featured 6th race. And in a way, I feel like this 6th has the most interesting horse on today's card, and that is the unbeaten Jersey shipper in from Monmouth, the number 1 West Will Power, who I didn't single. He's got a little bit of greenness to overcome, and we'll talk about his chances and just his overall makeup in a second. So, for me anyway, he's not a single, and the 6 Everfast for Jack Sisterton has just been keeping pretty salty company, and not an easy race today, a compact field, not an easy race, but he's still coming out of graded stakes on a pretty steady basis. A 3-horse spread for me in the 7th race. Couple of prices. The 2, the Captured Star, I think, has a right to run okay on the turf for Patrick B. and Cone. And further down, Fiber Optic has run some big races sprinting on this turf course. Her form really went sideways, and combination of her just not getting good weather. She's 30-1 on the morning line, and should be. I mean, she's a tough horse to make. When you dig a little, though, I think the 2 horse in the 9th is worth a go back. She's the kind of horse you might miss when you first look at her. And as I had mentioned a few minutes ago, Ronnie, I singled the maker horse at $18 play, but I got a couple of long shots in the mix, which I'm always happy to have. And getting down to business here, let's throw back to the last out race from West Will Power, and you'll hear from veteran rider Joe Bravo this afternoon. I talked to Joe yesterday about this unbeaten Bernardini colt for the West and trainer Kelly Breen, and it looked like, this was just going to be a powerhouse performance. And I guess on a lot of respects it was, because the race came up fast and both he and the runner-up just gapped out the field. But there is a lack of seasoning, and Joe said he went to, kind of shake the reins and give this horse a little bit of a pop. And he ducked in, he ducked out. He was just much the best, though, and that was the good news because he kicked clear at 6-5. What do you make of him, Ronnie, as He's only run twice. He clearly has some growing up to do, and he's running against some horses that have, for the most part, talked the talk and walked the walk with a lot of races under their belts.
Well, this is one of these horses. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Is this one of these trap horses, that run well 2 for 2? I like the fact that Joe Bravo was aboard for both victories, so he knows this horse very well. And as you mentioned, that last race got the 95 buyer in here. So I think we'll see how this horse runs later this afternoon. I'm venturing position to say he's going to be the big favorite.
Yeah, he's 8-5 on the line. I mean, people like the ones, as I say, and he's got 2 big wins, including a gaudy figure last time out. He is the potential box office star today, and I can't wait to see what he does. But the competition does run deep. I had obviously touched upon Everfast and why I included him on my pick 5 play, as he is just simply down in class. His form hasn't been great, but you're talking about 3 consecutive stakes, including a 50-1 try in the Grade 1 Forgo. What do? I put 2 big question marks next to your 4-horse here in Mexican Wonder Boy, who's run some solid races in this country. No longer Fausto, who I'm a huge fan of, Fausto Gutierrez, but that said, it's first-time Danny Gargan, whose few starters we've had on this circuit, GPW included, have just been searingly hot and in a nice zone.
You know, when you're handicapping the races, this is the horse I kept going back to in there. So I added to the ticket. As you mentioned, going to Danny's barn. He's shortening up to the 1-turn mile today. Just got nailed at the wire when beating that head against those 40 claimers. Going 8.5 at Keeneland on the main track. I'm going to show you a stat with Danny Gargan first after the claim. These are route races on the dirt.
Let's see this. I want to see it.
So he's 10 for 33, 30%, 67% of the money, 180 to return investment. He's, with all things, he's like up by 40, but I wanted to see what he did with route races.
Sure.
And just to maybe make it a little more feasible this afternoon. And Everfast, you're absolutely right, man. This was second, right, in the Preakness Stakes, I believe, in 2019.
Oh, I think you're right. I forgot about that. Oh, yeah, it's showing behind War Will.
Yeah, he was behind War Will, so you're right about that. So, but let's see how this race plays out. West, you know what's going to be good about the one horse? Going to get a good test today. They're going to see what they got.
Yeah, no, it's a profound test for him, no question about it. And that is the race of the day as far as I'm concerned. We're back on the turf, though, in the meantime for race number 7. You've got a big field here, 2-year-old $25,000 to $20,000 maiden claimers set to go. I don't know if there's like a traditional horse to beat. It's just not the kind of race you may find a big favorite, although Todd does have that firster by English Channel you had talked about a little while back. And I do think the 3 Uncle Fun, I feel like this effort 2 back, and you know, of an important note, the race we're about to show you was his most recent start on this turf course. He did not run well from post 12 last time out at GPW. Once again, rain-softened turf over in Miami Gardens. I don't think he ran spectacular in this race, but he didn't get that much pace. And, you know, I'm curious, Ronnie, I still feel like this race, as he clunks up and closes for second down inside, I think that race we just looked at is like the benchmark on the turf. As far as turf racing goes and routing on the turf, he's run better than any of these horses, even though many of them haven't had as many chances as he's brought to the table.
Yeah, you know, I went with the first-time starter, I Am Gray, who's the son of Miz and Mass, debuting for Jorge Delgado. I just thought it was a good spot for a first-time starter. I know you have some long shots on your ticket, and rightly so. This is the race that scares me in the Rainbow Six.
Right.
Let's show you that stat with number 8, Turlo, who's really beautifully bred, son of English Channel. He's in for 25, so don't forget that. Todd, with his 2-year-old first-time starters on the turf at Gulfstream, he's 7 for 37, 19%, 46% in the money. 201 is the return investment. Doesn't knock your socks off to 19%, but we'll see how this horse runs this afternoon. This race is the old head-scratcher for me.
It is. I wonder in that 2-year-old sample size how many of those horses had won like special weights during the summer meet, you know? Because I found a stat, I didn't send it in, but Todd maiden claiming first-time starters on the turf. He's only 3 for 36. This is a move I don't necessarily love the barn with, and as such have Turlo capping my super. You know, the thing though with the captured star, who just hasn't run all that well in his 2 races to date, you know, what do you do, Ronnie? Because this horse was rained out twice at GPW, and despite that, and they weren't 3 or 4 horse off the turf fields, this horse for Patrick being Cone really got bet in both of those races. So, I mean, are they on to something where we're going to see like a coming out party today?
Yeah, maybe. And, you know, Patrick does an excellent job. I think he's 28%. I got a stat, I think, tomorrow or Saturday. He's 28% with horses doing what this horse is going to do today. So, just one of those races we can talk on and on about it. And you can talk about 6, 7 horses in this race that can run well.
It is funny. There's one minor turf winner, not to go on and on about the family of the 2 that captured star. I only mentioned the pedigree because the dam looked to the stars. I had looked her up, and the last race she ever ran, she was ridden by our good buddy Richard Migliori. And that brought a smile to my face. That was back around, I think, 04 or 05, quite a while ago, and that's the deuce that captured star. Let's get on to the 8th, my friend. We're on the dirt. In fact, I think this is the last main track race this afternoon, and I'm not sure. Yeah, see, you don't trust the 5 Ensign Parker off this big figure race.
No.
I've got him a little higher rated than you, but I'm curious to see which way he goes this afternoon. Here's his last start back on November the 1st, and it came up just so crazy fast in terms of, on Bayer with the 72 figure for a maiden 50 for 2-year-olds over at Gulfstream Park West. If he runs back to this just from a speed figure standpoint, the others are going to be in big trouble. Yet digging a little bit deeper on this race, and he did run down and ran right by the big favorite Ensign Parker, who's the 2, or I should say the number 2 Dr. K was the big favorite. Horses, and they've been bigger prices, but there's been 4 horses that have come out of this race we're looking at, and nobody has really run all that well. So I'm wondering if it's just kind of an anomaly, so to speak, with Ensign Parker. And like you, I really like the races at or around this level. I think the 4 Swaggy George just makes a lot of sense and is a very good fit against this field.
And also the horse has the distinction of being the only multiple winner in the field with that 5 starts and the 2 wins for Sandra. Moved there after the claim and finished second. I just thought it was a good performance. New connections. They're going to keep the status quo today. They're going to have Edgar Zayas in the saddle one more time around. We both have on our ticket. I have it a little further up for Mike Maker. Louis Zayas handling that drop down today. And Top Boss, I thought, could run well. I didn't know what to do with the 5. Talking about Carlos Perez, we just talked about him. That horse won. I could understand it totally.
Yeah, I don't know which way, the pendulum swings this afternoon. Is he legit, or was that one of those one-hit wonder races that just came up so crazy fast from out of the blue? We'll get some clues and certainly some evidence a bit later on in race number 8 with a start time of 4 p.m. Eastern. All-turf double begins, race number 9. We've got the Nicoletti best bet from the inside post, an Awesome Roar. I know you're a fan of horses that have had success, like a horse-for-course type angle. It worked beautifully yesterday with Grand Saman, who just loves it here at GP. And I would imagine the impetus in liking Awesome Roar so much, her back class, but the fact that she's done so well locally here at Gulfstream.
Yeah, that's definitely it. Now when there's Antonio Sano barn, this is a 6-time local winner, as you mentioned, drops to the 16 level, was facing an allowance company up north with limited results, 8-time winner at the distance. This is the spot for this horse to run well. Edgar Zayas is going to handle the homecoming this afternoon. So I just thought Awesome Roar, I think 5-1 on the morning line. I believe, let me see, 5-1.
Yeah, that feels about right in the ballpark
right
there, right?
Yeah, it's about right for this horse. I mean, there's a couple other ways you can go, but I just think this horse is going to run pretty well today.
The 5 Miss Miami, though, has done okay on the turf in the past, and that's what I like about her. She got back on the grass last time out about a month ago for Eddie Please over at GPW. She won that race, and she's run okay on the turf in the past, and I'd like to think she's got a little more to give and could be even better returning to Gulfstream Park. What do you make of her and even the 3 subsidiary? I guess if you like the 3, you're hoping she just blasts off and wires the field?
Yeah, she's stepping up today to face this open competition after the pair of solid sprint efforts across town. That 3 lifetime scorer last time out, Mark Cassie, Luca Panici, Miss Miami, for all the reasons you mentioned, that rousing $10,000 claiming victory, going 5 panels across town. So, I just think that maybe when the smoke clears, that back class of the 1 is going to be important.
And Fiber Optic, give her a look. She's done okay on the turf sprinting 5. This field's pretty tough. She's going to be a big price. She's been rained off. They tried a 3-back going a mile. She can't stay 8 furlongs. I think she's got a little chance to make some noise, and she's going to be boxcar odds this afternoon. Now, that won't be the case with the Maker off the claim horse in race number 10, the nightcap here at 5 p.m. Eastern. We're on the turf, 2 lifetime $35,000 to $25,000 claimer, and you and I both just going hook, line, and sinker. Fresh Maker on the turf off the claim here in the nightcap.
Yeah, his only previous turf race was that good second at our sister track, Golden Gate Fields. Goes to the barn for Mike Maker, as you mentioned. okay performance. It's just Maker first off the claim. I think this horse is going to run well. I used the 3, the North Remembers, debuting locally for Dom Schettino after finishing a track to pace. That was on that soft turf course up at Belmont. Broke his maiden right here, and you got old Pacalito in the saddle today.
Right, the Pockinator, in fact, who's going to get a little love here as we dive into our day number 2 opening Thursday lightning round here on Gulfstream Park today. A lot to unpack and digest from that 10-race program that started the meet. And our first item and topic up for grabs here is that opening day. What happened here? Any standouts? For me, Ronnie, it's Paco, who walked away with 3 victories. He was about a whisker shy of winning 5 total on the day. And here's the biggest one aboard Tracy Ann's Legacy, who was just so good in the 9th.
Yeah, I just thought this was a really good performance, and I'm in agreement with you. Paco winning those 3 races, and he lost, and he won the opener, which is always good. He won with Coin the Phrase, and he lost by a nose, as you mentioned, one of those, maybe a half a nose to Tawa with a little bit good, I think, beat him that day. So Paco could have had 5 winners, as you said.
Yeah, then the Chad horse in the last, who lost by a minuscule amount. No, so Paco back in the mix, riding 10, and let's not forget Ken Sweezy picking up 2 wins in the training department. Moving on, race 6, we had talked a little bit about a potential, who knows, stakes horse in West Will Power. Your gut feeling, does the lack of just seasoning and greenness that he displayed, is that an issue stepping up against some seasoned older horses?
It is, as we've been talking, you and I a couple of times off the air. Just finished, this horse might end up being a trap horse, but if he's good, you see he ran exceptionally well, even though he was a little green last time out. And I like the fact that Joe Bravo is going to be on the horse for the 3rd consecutive time. I want to see one, but I think I still had to put the horse on top of my ticket.
Now, reliable chalk. Clearly, it's not West Will Power for you or I, even though we both picked him. Hartling for me in the 4th. We were close with Chad's French Reef in the nightcap here yesterday. I think Hartling's going to be awfully tough in the 4th, and for me anyway, is a single in the early 5 and early 4.
Yeah, we know we talked about Awesome Raw and the reasons with Antonio Sano, a 6-time local winner. I love this angle early on in the meet where horses have run well here in the past, and Edgar Zayas certainly adds to the appeal. So I just thought that horse today at 5-1 in the morning line is a good bet for you, for me at least.
Now, what are we doing as far as prices? I like the Being Cone horse, the Captured Star in the 7th. I said, go back, give a look. Fiber Optic may be a little tough over her last, say, 4 or 5 races, but when you dig a little, she's 30-1. I think she and Patrick's filly in the 7 can run okay this afternoon at, again, boxcar prices.
Yeah, I love those prices, and then this is what you try and find. And, with the Rainbow 6 kicking off in race number 5, I did have the 1 Queen of Burial, as I mentioned earlier, 8-1. Only previous race on the turf sprinter on the grass was really good. Carlos Perez, who we've been singing his praises a couple of times today, he's got Edgar Zayas, so I thought maybe for a price, you go with the Queen of Burial, a horse that I think you got to use in the opening leg of the Rainbow 6.
11 races here Saturday afternoon, our first blockbuster program of the winter meet. An early start time of 12 noon, and not only do you have Jesus's team, you've got a rejoining, or it feels so good to be reunited sort of standpoint, with a couple of potential Eclipse Award finalists in both Tyler Gaffleone and Arad Ortiz. Of course, Tyler, a hometown kid who's done so well here at Gulfstream Park and does have an Eclipse Award as a champion apprentice. And Arad Ortiz Jr., who's been champion rider, champion journeyman the last couple of years. There he is on bricks and mortar. They are both busy here, Ronnie, on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, Tyler Gaffleone seems to own Kentucky, and he comes right down here and does an incredible job. Nairad will be here on Saturday. It's always good to see those guys. And just a tough, I saw my buddy Julian Leperoux named, so we got a couple of guys. Things are starting to come into place for the championship meet. With this COVID situation, everybody's got to get tested, so maybe they don't come down as fast as they usually do, but they will all be here.
They will. Robbie Alvarado and Corey Lannery, both with runners and mounts on Saturday's card. Twitter poll, sent it out in honor of opening day. I sent this one out Tuesday afternoon and had almost 400 people vote, which I appreciate a lot. When it comes down to it, let's just pretend make-believe race between the 4 Peg Pegasus Dirt winners to date. Ronnie, I'm putting you in the hot seat. Arrogate, by the way, was a runaway winner, and I was not expecting him to just clobber Gun Runner like this. But let me ask you, you line these 4 up, going 9 on the dirt. Who do you think wins?
I'm going with Gun Runner. I just thought this horse was incredible in his 4-year-old season, and he surprised me. He just kept getting better and better and better, and he came in and he ran lights out. So, I mean, I can understand Arrogate, but Gun Runner was my choice.
All right, I'm going to go with Arrogate there, and I think that would have been an amazing race. If you could have had them coming back later in their career, I know they had met in the Breeders' Cup, but 2 wonderful horses and the 2 most powerful Pegasus Dirt winners we've had in 17 and 2018. A lot of dough up for grabs today, my friend, a lot of scratch in that guaranteed Rainbow Six pool. We're going to take a little stab at that ticket a bit later, aren't we, Ronnie?
Yeah, $75,000 in the jackpot guarantee. We did have some singles yesterday. Thought they were going to nail it on opening day. Not the case, so we got 75, and this thing just keeps building and building, but you got a chance to take it down today.
If you like turf racing, though, on this Fast and Firm Thursday, 6 turf races on the program, pristine turf course, big fields all day long. I mean, how can you argue with that picture, my friend, at about 12:10 in the afternoon?
No, it looks like someone painted it. Not me, of course, but it looks like almost like a painting with those clouds just hanging low in the sky.
Well, we've got a wordsmith, the man that essentially paints with words, the one and only, the big man upstairs, Pete Aiello, is coming up next with Day 2's Scratches and Changes.